chickens.
Yes, they just gotta run around this theme park.
Over 200 chickens.
200 chickens in a theme park? Hey everybody, welcome back to Pest Talk, the show where we help you solve all of your crazy and wildest pest problems. We got some great stories, some great scenarios for you today. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with
Franklin Ortiz
of Advanced Wildlife, I say management. Yeah, we're going to call it management today. And let's jump straight into the phones, my man, because there is some crazy stuff going on right now. Let's start out with Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Hi, my name is Rhonda. I'm calling to inquire about your services as it seems we have a bird problem, pigeons to be specific. So basically, me and my husband have a warehouse storing product for our linen company. We're holding pillows, comforters, and other soft materials, which are being compromised by...
Okay, hold on a second. I had to pause that. Compromised.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what that means. But I don't know exactly, but let's find out.
This bird infestation. When we first started noticing them, it was only like, one or two, and we didn't really think it was that big of a deal. But now there are just way too many. They're pooping everywhere. It seems like they're nesting, and it's just really affecting our inventory at this point.
Could you
I don't want to know what affecting the inventory means.
Could you imagine purchasing a comforter online and gets to your house covered in like pigeon droppings?
Well, of course, no.
That's serious though. That's a serious
I was about to say, and of course,
yes.
they're probably trying to stay on top of it because it's. I mean, we've all seen these when we go to like Home Depot, for example. I'm sure you've noticed when you got like some bird buzzing you, because it's angry that you decided to walk down the light bulb aisle. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're gonna let this poor business owner finish.
Yeah.
I'm just tired. The situation is so stressful and I'm extremely frustrated. So we just really need some help to solve this problem and get rid of them. My number is 32.
Well, yeah, we're going to preserve her.
Yeah, from getting some random calls.
I get a bunch of random calls from like the bird activists out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But anyway.
That's
okay,
a stressful situation.
Yeah, let's see what else she has to say.
3326.
Okay.
If you could please call me back as soon as possible, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Well, she's so professional. Listen
you could super.
That was.
You could hear the stress though.
Yeah, totally. So what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Got to get out there and address the problem and see what's going on. See how many there are, see if they're nesting sites, see exactly where they're getting in the warehouse. I'm assuming they have probably some large bay doors, right? That semis load and unload from, and the birds can probably just fly.
Oh, is that one of the number one?
It's common. Yeah. Large bay doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do?
Well, it just depends on the situation. So there's a few different ways you could go about it. You could set traps to catch them.
Okay.
Or if they need like immediate right now relief, you can go inside that warehouse and you can start picking them off with a pellet gun.
Oh,
yes.
Actually, you know what? It's interesting. It like almost sounds too fun to be true.
Right. I know. Right. Like I'm going to get paid to go shoot a bunch of birds right now.
But, okay. So I've never done that. We've always used the ovicidal.
Okay. Yeah. You could do that too. Right.
Well, because, so you're doing wildlife management. You probably get calls for inside more.
Yeah.
We're getting structural calls more because we're a structural pest control company, right? So oftentimes, our solutions are some really interesting modern chemicals that actually like birth control for the pigeons.
Yep.
So they die off naturally. They're ovicidal that are fed with grains. There's also, we'll do trapping as well. I have used an air gun in certain situations, for registered pest species. But dude, I'm mortified of like not hitting it.
Hitting the sprinkler. Hitting the sprinkler.
Okay, so that's my question for you. Like, so what do you do if you don't like, because I don't want to have some 50-cent pigeon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That yes is a vector of disease. We have to watch out. Their feces and their urine and their nesting debris has like 63, 64 different diseases.
Right.
And they're all very serious. They can get you very, very sick. They're in the top three. Bed bugs, pigeons, and rats are the worst disease carriers of at least all of the pest species that we deal with. So, you really need to protect the population, protect the clientele, protect the product and the diseases they can spread through it. But at the same token, you don't want some like 50-cent pigeon that actually lands in front of like a 72-inch big screen TV to take, you know, a .117 air gun shot to the LED plasma that was going for $5,000 and be like, hey, I got rid of your 50-cent bird.
Yes.
But you might need to replace 4 or 5 of those big screens in Best Buy. You know, it's like, so what do you do, man?
Yeah, you just need to make sure you're very good. First, that's the first thing. Practice. Make sure you're good, because you can't go indoors like that and just start shooting with no prior experience, because you will hit something that you don't want to hit, and it's not good. So you got to practice first.
So be honest, you ever done that?
I have not hit anything. I have been lucky enough to have been almost born with a pellet gun in my hand so I've had lots of practice.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we grew up in the boonies, so we were able to just go out and just start shooting stuff, soda cans or just whatever we could.
And by boonies, what do you mean? Like Little Rock or no?
Yeah. No, I grew up in Chino Hills and Carvin Canyon, and it was just out in the hills. And I was like one of the only kids in our neighborhood. There were no kids. And it was literally like we could get on our dirt bike and just go right into the hills. Like it was so away from everything. It was great. I hated it as a kid, but now like as an adult, that's where I want to be back at, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. As a rule, man's a fool. When it's hot, he wants it cool. When it's cool, he wants it hot. Always wanting what is not, baby.
Yes, exactly. You know, it never rains more true. So yeah, no, we go right into that warehouse. I know they want to get those pigeons out of there as quick as possible, and then the name of the game would be reduction. You got to reduce the numbers, right? Like first and foremost. And there's a video on YouTube. This guy's in Russia, and he goes in there with this insane pellet gun. It's insane.
Wait, is it the greenhouse one?
It might be, dude. And it's I mean,
it looks like he's got like a scuba tank strapped to like.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's thousands of these pigeons everywhere, and he's just picking them off, and you're just watching him drop like pigeon after pigeon.
It's like John Wick with pigeons.
Yes. And it's like, I think the video's like over an hour long of this guy just shooting pigeons. Really? But that's basically what you do. Like we've done it multiple times with some large stores that have birds in there and they can't get them out. And this is literally the only situation because they've exhausted any other solution they had to the problem. So they need to get someone in there to shoot it. And we go in. One of the times we were in a store and our sights fell off the gun and we had to shoot the pigeon with 0 sights. So we had to go in.
That sounds literally like a premise for a bad comedy.
Dude, so bad. And you know my wife, right? Like we go do this stuff together, like all the jobs, we're like on it together. My wife's like, she's bad. And we're in there and the sights fall off after we got the second bird. There was 3 of them. And the last one, we chased it around for like an hour and I missed it a few times. And then I finally got it like on the 3rd shot. And we just had to wait until it was in the ideal situation. Look, good spot, couldn't be near anything, and unfortunately we got it back to their storage area and they were like, we really don't care if you hit a box back there, so like have at it, and we got it.
Wow.
And that's basically what you do in this warehouse. Go in the warehouse and start picking them off for them.
Okay, so tell me if you have any experience with this. You know what they do at the aerospace firms, right? Because around the Santa Clarita Valley, everywhere from Burbank back in the 30s when they were doing the air races, there's always been a heavy aerospace presence before they got chased away with horrible taxation. There actually used to be a lot of aerospace firms here. Yeah. And of course, you know, if you're building the B-2 bomber or something like that, you know, you can't just have some dude walking around with a pellet, right?
Right.
So I actually went to this facility. And this was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I tried to get a license for this, but it's almost impossible to get the birds because they only allow so many of them. Have you had experience with falconers getting rid of pigeons?
We had a falconer well, he worked for us for a while. He actually
Get out of town.
He was a falconer. He worked for a falconry company and he wanted to come on and trap animals for us. But we actually got to utilize his skills catching falcons and owls from warehouses that got trapped in there.
Really?
So he used to go around.
Wait, so the falcon would get other falcons?
No, the traps. They have specific traps to catch them, and he's allowed to because he's got the license. It's almost impossible to get it. Like you have to know a falconer, and they have to like you and trust you enough. It's like it's not a cult. It's like
there's like 12 of them in Southern California, and that's it.
It's super protected. They gotta like you, know you, trust you, and be willing to pass the license on to you. Pretty much is what it is. And he got it. He found someone who trusted him. So he worked for a company, and dude, they would go to the power plants, to the nuclear power plants, and they would fly their falcons and pick pigeons off throughout the whole day.
Whoa, so they're actually actively picking them off. See, I was under the impression, and when I talked to the maintenance guy at this aerospace firm, he said, apparently, so obviously he's just retelling what he was told, so he could be wrong, But apparently they don't even need to pick off the pet pigeons, that most of these smaller bird species, the second they see a falcon, because it does a flight to establish its territory.
Right.
And apparently anything within like,
takes off.
yeah, they just like, oh, there's a falcon in town. Like,
right.
It's like the sharks just showed up in Jet's territory or something. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
like,
he's got videos of his birds just on top of the pigeon, just eating it, just pulling it apart, feathers and stuff. I've watched, dude, it is so, I gotta say, being a falconer is pretty awesome. Like,
really?
If you watch them train these birds, it's pretty incredible to watch. But yeah, they would go out. They do it for seagulls. They get permits to do it for seagulls when the seagulls don't want to leave. And
really?
They send them out there after the seagulls. Yeah, they get paid to do it.
Get out of town.
So yeah, we utilized them, man. We had an owl.
So what do they do? Just like starve these falcons until like they're just
Dude,
like...
they got them trained. They have this thing they spin after them, and it's cool. I never got to watch it in person. I should have, but I've seen his videos of him training them and him working with it.
So I'm a responsible adult that doesn't waste extraordinary amounts of time on TikTok, of course.
Right.
But I may have seen, or a friend may have sent me a cool video. Have you seen the Falconers where they have two people put their heads together? So they're standing super close, and then they put their hand on the other side of the people between their heads, and they summon the falcon.
Yes.
And the falcon flies in full spread. You think it's going to shred these people.
Yeah.
And then right before it gets to their faces, it sucks its wings in.
Yes.
Becomes like a little bullet that goes in through, I'm not kidding you, the 8-inch space in between their heads, and then full spreads out afterwards and lands on his feet. I mean, it's like acrobatics you don't get to see at Circus Vargas.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, it's incredible. That's really awesome. Dude, we had a hawk out a tree at our house the other day, just had a pigeon right there just pulling it off. We were just watching it for like 10 minutes, watching it eat the thing.
Well, I don't know if I could have handled 10 minutes, but maybe like, a solid 3.
We had the dog, so they got to play right there for a little bit. But yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you've used falcons with the pigeons, huh?
We haven't. The guy who worked for us has. And he's caught the falcons, and he's caught owls that were trapped inside of warehouses for us though.
Now, I got to tell you, that's something I want.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, owls are awesome.
Yeah, I love owls, but they also creep me out. But yeah, I love owls.
Didn't you say they're the scariest animal you ever encountered in the attic?
Creepiest animal. Yeah, they're so cool. I love them, but there's just something about them that's just a little creepy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is the fact that like, it is a little bit odd how silent they are.
Yeah.
And the fact that like their bodies will turn.
Yeah.
I used to work at Universal Studios, so I became friends with the animal magic people.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, I think they had to get rid of the show because like animal activists went psycho on it or something. But or either maybe they just had to diminish the amount of animals they had. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But basically now, unless it's a Labrador, somebody gets angry at you, you know. Right. But the girl that was in charge of the falcons and was in charge of all the birds, also had an owl. Yeah. And she would just straight up walk around like in a 360-degree angle, and the owl would just sit there staring at you, completely silent. They're cool.
Yeah, just stare. It's their eyes. Well, hey, they've been related like throughout time, right, to like supernatural things also.
Oh, that's true.
So
like the old Lilith myths, I think was an owl. Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of creepy.
Oh, that is hilarious. That's you're totally right.
And I think if you watch a movie, The Fourth Kind, which is supposed to be based on a true story, right?
Okay.
There's an owl outside of her window every time the aliens come. Also,
really?
Yeah, it's there every time, so it's associated with that as well.
Okay, so in our last show, you and I talked about building a bat box.
Yeah,
I'm actually building an owl box right now.
That's awesome.
But it's kind of hard.
Yeah,
because apparently they're super picky about the size hole that they like.
Yep.
And so you can't just get a regular bird box. You have to get specifically an owl box.
Yeah.
And in Santa Clarita, we actually love having owls around, but this broke my heart and I had no idea. There was a period of time when they were worried in the pest control community about, first generation versus second generation rodenticides and something that's called secondary poisoning. Back when we found like P52, which is famously the mountain lion that lives next to Griffith Observatory, and some of the mountain lions and the megafauna in Southern California were starting to get mange. Of course, they blame pest control professionals first because they don't know what else to do. Right. But they actually found that it wasn't any of our product really. Okay. A lot of those accusations got debunked. Just habitat loss. Yeah. Like habitat loss is extremely stressful, especially on roaming megafauna. Right. And I get very good-hearted people just like me that are environmentalists, love ecology, love the balance of nature and humanity. We would never want our honestly underperforming megafauna population in California, because all of our politicians promise to reintroduce megafauna and tax us for these big programs, and they never deliver on it.
Right.
The money all gets put in towards, like the bullet train to Modesto or whatever, But
Yes.
I was actually part of a group that was trying to help get megafauna reintroduced into the wild, and one of the concerns was rodenticides, because the thought was, well, if a bunch of rats eat it and then a bunch of intermediary animals eat a bunch of the rats, you're going to get what's called bioaccumulation in the system. And then if one of the megafauna eats that intermediary predator, then he's going to get the equivalent of like 100 rats worth of poison in the system. And it may not be enough to kill him, but it'll weaken his immune system, may make it so he gets mange. Well, they found out a lot of it was actually just stress caused from habitat loss, because a roaming cat, like a panther or a leopard, or in our case, a mountain lion, is used to be able to roam like hundreds of miles. And now we give it this like 8 square mile spot between the Griffith Observatory, the 101, and the 5 freeway, and then that's just not enough. Right. And it causes stress, and they can't cross the freeways without unfortunately getting hit and oftentimes killed. So in Canada, they've been building wildlife bridges forever, and supposedly we got one approved for over the 101. We were supposed to have one
built, right?
We were supposed to have one built, but to my knowledge, it hasn't been done yet.
Okay.
But gosh, man, I don't even remember how we got on this tangent, but basically I remember that, I remember where we were going. Chemo brain was totally kicking in there for a second. But I remember when I was studying this, because I wanted to build my owl box.
Yes.
I found out, what the number one cause of death from owls is in some of these municipalities? Other owls.
Okay.
So when the spotted owl basically ruined the lumber industry in Northern California, and they closed like all the lumber mills in Redding and everything because they were worried about the owls, and of course they wanted to blame the humans.
Right.
They actually found out it was other owls.
Okay.
The larger owls were just icing these things.
Yeah.
So apparently owls don't get along with owls, dude.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like humans apparently.
I was gonna say just like us. Yeah.
They don't coincide too well.
Yeah.
But also starvation from lack of a rodent population.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these guys eat an insane amount of rodents.
I know firsthand how many rodents they eat.
Okay,
so
hit me.
We might have spoke about this. We had a lady call us. She had owls inside her attic, an area of her attic you couldn't crawl through. We had to cut her ceiling open. We got 6 baby owls out.
What?
Yes. Mom wasn't there.
Good thing not, dude. Those talons are sharp.
Dude. So, hey, the babies are super cute. They just like little cotton balls, right? With their white fur. So we got the babies, and I had spoken to someone from the Department of Fish and Wildlife. She was like, don't remove them. If you have to, take them to a rehabilitator. So we're like, okay, we'll do it. Okay. So this was my first experience removing owls, and it was completely wrong. It ended up working out amazingly though. So we took them out. We took them to a rehabilitator. The rehabilitator got really frustrated. He's like, you're not allowed to do that. You need a permit. We're like, great, I'm doing what I was told. He's like, okay, take them back. So I was like, absolutely. So we're out there at 11 at night. We built an owl box in the eave pocket where the 2 roofs overlap. That was the area Mom was using to get inside there. So we built a box and put the babies in there.
Really? Okay.
We went back every single day for the next month almost. First, it was just a week, right? To make sure that Mom's feeding them. And we were finding rats, gophers, moles, voles, all kinds of rodents in there, partially eaten, fully eaten, on the ground, just everywhere. This mom was feeding them. We were so happy because, as you said, our biggest thing is we want to be able to remove the animals safely, keep them being able to do their thing, and also have the people being able to have their home. And the lady couldn't live at her house. The smell was one of the top worst smells I've ever had to encounter with it, and the noises they were making.
Well, because you also have a bunch of dead rodents constantly getting introduced into it. Yeah, I mean,
and they don't eat them all.
One dead rat that weighs more than a pound is enough to clear out a house.
It's not like the cartoons. Yeah. They're not licking the rodent to the bones and the skeleton, right? There's still flesh rotting and maggots in there as well. So yeah, we monitor it. The doctor was the rehabilitator. He was the main rehabilitator for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. So he was really upset. And then I came down to him and we had some multiple conversation. I was like, man, I'm really trying to do the right thing. That's why we're here. This is what I was told to do. Yeah. He gave us everyone's number we need for the next situation. This is who you call. They'll give you the permit. You would have got a permit in this situation because the lady couldn't stay there. She couldn't sleep because they're up all night because they're nocturnal, right? Yeah. So they're making noise all night. Anyways, it worked out amazingly, but there was so many dead rodents that we had to clean up and sanitize that eave pocket because we sealed it off so they couldn't get back in the attic.
So did you just have to wait until they could fly and they just left?
It was about a month. They started fledging, right? Their coats were coming in. Their main feathers were just starting to come in when we had first gotten there. We got some awesome pictures of them too. But yeah, once they were gone, we're good.
So how long did that take? 6 weeks? Or?
Took a month. Took 1 month. Yeah.
Wow. So you were going there every day for a month?
We went there every day for a week, and then we stopped after that week and went every couple days and just made sure everything was being good. And she called us back this year because some of the little ones, or maybe mom again, had came back trying to get back in.
Well, that's so true. You have to worry about that with swallows.
Swallows, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a big one. That's
Okay,
another horror movie with swallows. I got videos of those guys, man, too.
Yeah, I mean, and I swear that's enough for an entire show.
Yes.
We don't have to do it on this show.
Swallows.
But swallows, I think they keep coming back to the exact same spot every year until literally they are impeded. They're like salmon.
Yeah. Every year they come from South America to here. And if I'm correct and remember what I read about them as correct, they actually fly like around the whole world. They migrate around a good majority of the world. I think it's from South America to here to like Antarctica and then back down.
Really?
And then back around and around and around. Every year they just go boom, 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 boom,
Does
boom.
it get tired, dude?
Dude, I don't know. Hey, if I was a bird, I might spend most of my time flying. That'd be pretty cool, right?
Seriously.
Dude,
but,
yeah.
So owls, so they're protected then.
Yeah, very protected.
Now, see, this is what's so strange is obviously when you go on Wikipedia, for example, there's animals of least concern, which means they're oozing out of our ears and they really should be declared a pest species, but they're not.
Right.
And then, of course, there's like, unfortunately, the white rhino where there's only like one male left and it's about to go extinct, and it's heartbreaking thinking that humans haven't been able to figure out how to coexist with these things yet.
Yeah.
You know, but there's all these weird little gradients, like you guys with your wildlife trapping license, you basically can go after all wildlife, but you were about to get like a mountain lion permit because wasn't there a mountain lion that was like going after a girls camp and the llamas
eating their llamas?
Yeah.
They're trying to get
So
the
is there
permit.
just like a master list that like owls and mountain lions are on that you just have to check?
Any protected animals, you have to know what you're doing first. So, I mean, if you're going after something, you're not positive what you are, make sure you know what you're doing first. But yeah, they can get a permit. I don't know if they're going to get a permit for the mountain lion. That's going to be a tough one. You know, they get the permit so that way the state will pay for the rehabilitation after the animal after it's caught. So you can legally take it to that rehabilitator and they're going to be given the funds to take care of it and be able to reintroduce it back to the wild in the proper way, because that's like a process to be able to relocate an animal properly. That's why it's illegal, because any person can relocate an animal and it's probably going to end up suffering, dying, getting hit by a car and not know where it's at. But it takes a lot of
and then
knowledge.
also with like megafauna, man, that's a conversation I would love to have with one of these officials, because that really is like an ethical question. You know, humans were the stewards of the earth, and we don't want to like sacrifice our children and hikers to potential attacks from like grizzly bears and mountain lions. But at the same token, like we need them in our ecosystem, and we failed at coexisting with them. And I'm a huge advocate of reintroducing megafauna into our forests, into our wildlands. But at the same token, it's like, well, geez, what about the sheep farmers? Like, that are legit, like, you don't want to be like feeding the mountain lions on lamb. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what's so tough, right?
Yeah,
about where we live. That's what's so hard. Because even if we do take them to a area that's far away from us, it's not going to be that hard for them to venture back.
Yeah, they can roam
population.
600 miles.
Exactly. So they're right back over here. Someone's dog, cat, child, hiker, whatever it is.
Okay. So we're going to have to take a quick commercial break here.
Yep.
When we come back, we got a crazy cool skunk story that went down this week that we're just going to have to attack. This is Pest Talk, sponsored by Unipest. See you guys in a minute. All right, welcome back to Pest Talk. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with
Franklin Ortiz.
Franklin Ortiz of Advanced Wildlife Management. I'm Cardin Ellis of Unipest, and we got a really cool show here called Pest Talk, where we help you out with all of your pest control problems. And let's just jump straight to the phones right now, because this week was really interesting with skunks. Hit it.
Hi, Cardin. This is Bruna from Santa Clarita.
Nice lady.
I'm calling because I need your help. I have a very strong smell of skunk. I think it's below my house, and it has been a few days now. I thought it was going to go away, but it's just getting worse and worse. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal with this. if you can please give me a call back so we can schedule for you to help me, that would be great. Thank you so much, Carden. Have a good day.
Oh, so nice.
So nice.
Wishing me a good day.
Yeah.
The skunk, not nice.
No.
Dude.
They're stinkers.
Dad joke. 11 out of 10.
Little
okay,
stinkers,
bro,
yeah.
we got to get to the bottom of this skunk situation because nothing is more grossly, intensely frustrating.
Yeah.
And by the way, never make a wildlife guy angry, or he will straight degland a skunk and like just throw it into your garage so it, just biodegrades and puffs. No, because dude, if a skunk dies underneath your house, it could be $100,000 insurance claim. Like I've gone to houses where they had to reboard and refloor and reinsulate the entire floor in the home.
Yes.
Because a skunk died in this crawl space. And it's since it's not
stained.
It's just
stained.
You have to freaking move out of the house. You got like no option. So like this is more than just Pepe Le Pew jokes aside. Of course he's been canceled, so we can't make those jokes. But so you deal with skunks daily. Like
all the time.
What do you do for the Brunas in this world, man?
Yeah, it depends on the situation. We'll set traps. I'll remove them by hand. You grab them by hand and pull them out. If they're dead, if they're dead, they smell like garlic. If you go to a dead animal call, I'll just let you know, and you get there and you smell that decomposing body, right? But you have a hint of garlic in it, it's a skunk, even if you don't smell skunk. I don't know.
Really?
I swear. I don't know if it's because I've been around all these dead animals on a daily basis, for the past years. But the skunks have a garlic scent to them.
Really?
Yes. I can identify the dead animal by the way it smells, right?
Oh man. So you're like Crocodile Dundee looking up at the sun saying, oh, it's about 4:30.
Yeah. I just wiggle my nose up in the air real fast, right? And get a little whiff and like smells like a skunk.
Okay. So what do these homeowners do, man? I mean, because homeowners can actually just go after skunks themselves. Skunks aren't a registered pest species.
Right.
So for example.
And it's a non-game mammal. So you could actually, if you're in an area, you can shoot them and it's legal.
What? Are you kidding me?
Skunks, raccoons, coyotes, they're all non-game animals so that you can actually shoot them at any given time and it's okay. The only thing you have to worry about is firing a gun off where you live.
Yeah. So like, for example, in Santa Clarita, you're not allowed
happening.
to discharge a firearm in any city limits.
Crossbow.
Are you kidding me? Have you seriously crossbowed these things?
I have not, but I have been offered a lot of money to camp out at a guy's house overnight and crossbow these coyotes as they walk through his yard.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is like beyond Daryl from The Walking Dead.
Right? Oh yeah. That would be, or it should be a compound bow. Sorry,
there he is, like eating them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we will do oftentimes for customers in this scenario is you're allowed to do an exclusion for them. You can do a physical modification. See, you can just go out and just straight up trap them. Before
or one-way doors.
Yeah, expand. Just tell people what they can do and how you get rid of these, because this is a stressful call. I get a lot.
Yes, and they're scared because they spray. You don't want to be sprayed by the skunk when you're dealing with either. So the first thing you want to do, you want to inspect your house. Walk around your house. If it's underneath your house, you got to identify all the holes that are underneath that could allow this critter to get under there. Then if there's more than one, you need to close up the secondary holes and make sure that there's no other exits except for one. The next thing you're going to do, you can either order a one-way controller door online. They're like $50, or you could go to Home Depot, or you can even go to Harbor Freight. They have some traps that'll hold a skunk. And you're going to set that trap in front of that hole, and you're going to put build a little plywood cover that goes around the trap and covers the hole. That way, when they come out of that hole, if it's a vent, if it's a crawl space door, whatever it is, when they come out, their only option is to go directly into that trap. So that way they are going to be caught. That's your best way to do it. Once it's caught, you get a tarp, walk up to it with a tarp, talk to it like it's a baby, tell it it's okay, it's okay. I swear. Soft speaking, right? Like it's your puppy, newborn animal. Okay. You could sing it a lullaby. I'm being 100% serious with you right now. And be super slow with that tarp and cover it up. And the more you talk to it in a soft tone and approach it slow, the less likely it's going to be to spray.
Okay.
Cover it up, and then you can walk away with it. Once it's covered in the tarp, it doesn't really matter how gentle you are with it. Even though it's an animal, you want to be gentle with it, right? But you don't have to be, and it's going to spray the tarp, not you, not your house. The smell's going to stay on that tarp in the trap.
Interesting.
But, so In the rules and regulations of the Department of Fish and Wildlife in California, there is a depredation clause, which means if the animal is causing your home any type of damage that's costing you money, which a skunk under your house actually is, they ruin the vent, they're ruining the insulation, feces, contamination. You as a homeowner are permitted to trap the animal. You're just going to need to call a professional to dispose of it, because all trapped animals in California either have to be let go on the spot or they have to be euthanized by law. That is
because wouldn't it be like the worst of crimes to like release a skunk in your neighbor's yard? Like that would just be.
I mean, how much do you not like this neighbor, right? How good of a neighbor are they?
Okay, so that that's pretty interesting. We do something similar since obviously we deal generally with registered pest species, of which skunks aren't.
Yeah.
But you can perform exclusions, and especially for skunks that are traveling through areas, they'll oftentimes just stop to rest or nest.
Right.
Well, not nest as much, but just like you might go out in the morning and grab your a cup of coffee at Starbucks and then go to work and then hang out somewhere at lunch and then do happy hour and then come back home and be at 7 different locations during the day.
Right.
Skunks will do the same thing. And oftentimes you can tell if they're just passing through, if there's a way that you can exclude them from passing through or use some nasal irritants, then that's actually within our purview of being able to do. And the truth is, some of these skunks, man, I got to tell you, in like some of these really densely populated suburban areas, skunks and raccoons are straight up getting trap shy.
Yes.
Because so many people have trapped them.
Let them go.
They're just like, oh, I see that tuna in that metal box.
Yeah. We know what that is.
Yeah, I know what that is. I'm just going to knock it over.
Nice try, Frank.
Nice
try, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So I've kind of noticed that there's definitely that problem. And also something I've struggled with, because oftentimes we get these calls and sometimes like people will think it's rats, it's making the noise, but then we end up looking, setting up maybe a trail cam or something like that. And you see that it's a skunk, at which point I got to call my wildlife buddies and so on and so forth. It's hard to identify the little burrows, because don't they actually just take over the burrows of other animals?
They do both. They can take over the burrows and they can make their own as well. Yeah. So we see them making burrows under sheds. The shed's already a pre-made burrow. So what you're saying is correct. They just need to dig a tiny bit and their access to that whole area. That's a super common spot, is the shed. Underneath the shed. Extremely common. Someone says they got an animal under their shed and it's almost always a skunk.
Yeah. Well, the reason I also get so many skunk calls is for the freaking fleas.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I can't tell you how many, like if I get somebody where I do multiple flea sprays over a short enough period of time, I'll just say, okay, so where's the animal at?
Yeah.
And usually it's raccoons in the columns.
Yep.
You know those fake columns when you walk to somebody's front door?
Yep.
They wouldn't have noticed like these paw prints that look like small children.
Right.
Which always kind of makes me wonder about these people that didn't notice that, because I'm like, you either have a poltergeist,
there's 40 of them going up this column, right? Like,
and they look like small children's handprints, because they basically almost have an opposable thumb.
Right.
Raccoons do. So I was like, okay, so your house is either haunted,
yeah,
or it's infested. You choose,
right?
But which didn't you notice,
right?
Like the need for the exorcism,
right?
Or the need for a wildlife professional, like were things floating in the house,
yeah.
But okay, so we'll go out there and oftentimes, we'll perform an exclusion and so on and so forth. If it's easy and we can tell, just because we have to be able to stop the flea population from happening. But the reason why I almost always call you guys is because I'm mortified if I put in some one-way door somewhere that you actually trap in babies and then the babies die. And I've heard nothing but the worst horror stories. Maybe you can help me debunk this. I met in a training class once for birds. All right. I won't name the company. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But I was in a training class for birds once, and we were learning how to use the products that are manufactured by this company in order to deter pigeons from landing in high value areas like museums, crapping on some 15th century Brunelli statue. Yep. Obviously, we don't want a 50-cent pigeon ruining a priceless work of art, right? Yep. So we were learning how to use all the different kind of Teflon meshes and the different types of barriers to keep birds out. And I remember he said something interesting. He was talking about how he was getting his pest control license, because oftentimes people would think that they had a large animal in the attic and they just found out that it was a small mouse chewing on drywall. But when it resonates, it sounds like there's like a pterodactyl inside your attic. Yeah. You think it's like a raccoon or something.
Yeah. Rhinoceros.
Yes, definitely a rhinoceros.
Right.
Well, so anyway, he was mentioning that, I don't remember what joke he had made, but he'd made some kind of joke about somebody slighting him somehow. And he said something to the tune of, yeah, that person bothered me, but they didn't bother me bad enough to get a skunk gland. And I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Right. And he told me, and tell me if this is true or if I just totally got fed a line. Okay?
Yeah.
But he told me, he said, yeah, like if you actually know what you're doing, in some countries you're allowed to have a skunk as a pet.
In Florida.
But, oh yeah, in Florida.
You can have them in Florida, yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was saying that in some areas, municipalities, let's say, you're allowed to have skunks as a pet. But just like you go and get your dog spayed or neutered before you adopt them or rescue them,
right?
That you have to go get the skunk deglanded.
Yeah.
Okay. And he told me that like it's easy to find, and if you know how you're doing it, it's just a simple, very minor surgery. But it's not a sexual gland. It's not like testes. It's not like, ovaries inside of a pigeon or anything like that. It's not a urinary gland, and it's not a hormonal gland like the pituitary gland in your neck or anything like that. He said it's strictly a gland that just skunks have for this type of material.
Right.
And apparently it's small. It's a small bladder about the size of like 3 or 4 lima beans, he told me. And he said that when you surgically remove it, all of their spray smell is in there.
Yeah.
And he said, dude, like, he said, don't get not a pest control, but don't get a wildlife guy that handles skunks angry at you, because he can take that and just like, if your garage door's open, just throw it in there somewhere, or like put it underneath the hood of your car. And apparently like it'll last a couple of weeks, but when it decomposes and it finally just goes,
it opens,
poof, and opens. Like you have an entire skunks,
dude,
and you can't. That does not wash out.
Yeah. Well, we joke about it because we have skunks all the time, right?
Yeah.
So like someone upsets like my wife or my daughter, and I'm like, did you let them know we have a lifetime supply of skunks? We're going into this conversation. Like, do they really want to mess with the people who get skunks on a daily basis, right? Like, joke about it because it's hilarious.
So can you really degland a skunk and make a little stink bomb out of it?
And
that just like
keep
makes
him as a pet? Yeah.
That is mortifying.
Yeah.
Like that is absolutely, utterly.
I know.
Nobody's made a movie.
I know.
About like some serial killer.
Right. Like, deglanding skunks.
Just degland skunks. And
that's
like
his signature.
His signature is just the house.
The like skunk sack stays behind.
Dude, that is literally, utterly mortifying that somebody has that much control that completely anonymously you could just, no, dude, we're starting something on this show.
Yeah.
We will read a news article within the past year.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm saying? You better quickly write the script and email it to yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can have proof of the concept. It was interesting when I worked at Orkin. There was actually a lawsuit because Orkin had somehow collaborated for arachnophobia.
Oh, okay.
You remember the movie Arachnophobia?
I think so, yeah.
And there was some kind of hullabaloo that like they didn't follow the script. And in the original script, the Orkin man was supposed to be like a hero figure that looked knowledgeable and intelligent.
Okay.
But then they kind of
made him not look
turned
like
him
that.
into like some,
right.
Babbling buffoon. And the director's like, no, we want to add comedic value. So they turned the Orkin guy into some idiot. And so Orkin was like suing the production company for breach of contract.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, if we ever see a movie and we write the script, we just have to make sure that we correctly represent all the wildlife professionals.
Dude,
so that our office doesn't get hammered like that.
Yeah.
So then here's my question for you. For those out there, you did mention that homeowners themselves can actually legally trap the skunks and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What's the winning formula? Do you use marshmallows? Marshmallows work for raccoons, right?
Yeah, marshmallows could work for raccoons.
Are you just going to say the normal cat food?
Cat food. See,
really?
the great thing is when you set a positive trap like that, and it's basically, you could think of it as like a funnel that's guiding the animal into the cage. It has no option but to go into there. I mean, skunks can burrow under that.
Well, what about the people that don't have an area underneath their house, but they're constantly sensing the aroma?
Yeah.
And they just want to lay that trap in the backyard.
In that case, you got to lay it back there. Fishy substances, cat food, but also the number one thing you could do yourself is just install a skunk fence around your property.
Really? It's that simple?
You could do it yourself. Yeah, I mean, we do it, but you can also do it. You just need to trench a foot below the surface, a foot out of the surface, and you attach, I would use 1/2-inch mesh to the base of your fence, attach it around the entire perimeter, bury it back up.
Really?
No, and they try to go underneath, they can't. You got to do your gates.
What kind of fencing material you use?
We personally use vinyl coated galvanized metal mesh, and it has a vinyl coating to keep it
Like
from
like
rusting
Home
and all that
Depot
stuff.
chicken wire or what?
No, you can get it from Home Depot. You can only get, you might be able to get the vinyl coated from there, but generally it's just the galvanized from Home Depot. But yeah, I mean, hey, regular galvanized 1/2-inch mesh will work just fine. It's gonna last you great. We have to use the best because we need our work to be as amazing as possible, right?
Yeah,
As
I
a
hear you.
professional. Yeah.
All right, wicked. So this has been an awesome show. I'm really excited for next week.
Yes.
Okay, it's one of the few times where we actually know 1 week ahead what we're going to be talking about because summer has been so absolutely crazy. But you're going to have to tell us the story about chickens in a theme park.
Oh, the chickens.
I will get the story about a bunch of wild clucking chickens.
The clucking chickens. The mother clucking chickens.
Yeah, they just got to run around this theme park.
Over 200 chickens.
200 chickens in a theme park?
Yes.
Like, at what point is it no longer wildlife control or pest management and just plain old farming? Like,
yeah, I mean,
like
they reached that level a long time ago,
like
right?
at what point do we have a farmer's market?
Right.
And say just like wild caught chickens.
I mean, there was a chicken restaurant right there, so I don't know why they didn't just use the supply on hand, right?
Dude, that is awesome. Okay, so where can people find you, man? If people want to reach out, where can they find Frank Ortiz?
Frank Ortiz. You guys could see our Instagram. It's Advanced Wildlife Removal CA. And you could find us at our website at www.advancedwildliferemovalca.com.
All right, rock on. You guys have been listening to Pest Talk, sponsored by Unipest Termite and Pest Control. I am your host, Cardin Ellis. You can check us out at www.unipest.com for more. Until next week, keep cool. It is brutal out there. You've been listening to Pest Talk on FM 98.1.